You know, have you ever had that feeling that there are these little parts of you that you just push down? The parts you hope nobody sees? Maybe you don't even want to look at them yourself? Well, today, we're going to talk about a path that actually asks us to turn around and face those parts. We're diving into an introduction to what's called shadow work.
And this, right here, this really just says it all, doesn't it? The whole point of this work isn't about becoming someone new. It's about finally stopping the chase and turning around to have a conversation with the person who's been there all along. So I want you to think of our time together, not as some kind of lecture or a list of rules you have to follow. No, think of it more like a map. A gentle guide to help you explore your own inner world and find your way back home to who you really are.
Okay, so what is shadow work really? It's definitely not some quick fix or a new wellness trend. The best way to describe it is as a sacred and lifelong dialogue with your inner world. And that word, dialogue, is everything. It's not a battle, it's a conversation. It's about listening and learning from all the parts of yourself, not trying to get rid of them.
So where on earth do you begin a conversation like that? Well, it all starts with one absolutely fundamental step: awareness. This is the moment you just decide to gently turn on the lights and see what's actually in the room, without immediately trying to clean it all up.
And this is the core truth of it all. I mean, think about how much energy we spend trying not to feel our insecurities or our jealousy or our shame, but you just can't heal from a place of avoidance. So the very first, most courageous step in all of this is just being willing to look.
I love this flashlight metaphor. It's just perfect. A flashlight doesn't get rid of the darkness, right? It doesn't make the shadows go away. All it does is light them up so you can see where you're going. And that's exactly what awareness does. It helps you navigate your inner world with more clarity, not erase it.
So here's how you actually do this day to day. When something triggers you, that sudden spike of anger or that wave of anxiety, it's not random. It's a little signpost. It's pointing directly to a wound that needs your attention. The whole practice is to just pause, take a breath, and instead of reacting, just get curious and ask, hey, what are you trying to tell me?
And one of the best tools for building this awareness muscle is journaling. So to help you get started, here are a few prompts. The goal here is not to write the perfect essay. The goal is just to be brutally, beautifully honest with yourself. No filter needed.
Okay, so you've turned on the flashlight. You're starting to see what's there. What now? This brings us to the second stage, and honestly, this can be the hardest part for so many of us. It's acceptance. It is the art of just sitting with what you find.
And this just lays it out so clearly. Our instinct, our default mode, when we see a flaw, is to jump in and fix it, get rid of it. But shadow work asks for a totally different approach. The practice isn't to fix, it's to understand. Why is this jealousy here? What is this fear trying to protect me from?
This idea is so liberating. Your anger, your sadness, your fear, they are not you. They don't own the place. Just think of them as visitors, or maybe messengers that show up at your door with some mail for you. The sooner you can open the door, listen to what they have to say, and thank them for the message, the sooner they can be on their way. And really, acceptance all comes down to being able to say this: to look at your own messiness, your own imperfections, the parts you're not proud of, and instead of turning away in shame, you just whisper to yourself, yes, this too is me. It's this profound act of welcoming every single part of yourself back home.
All right, once we can look at ourselves and accept what we see, then we can start the actual healing. And that brings us to our next phase, compassion. This is where we learn to treat our own wounds with kindness. A really helpful way to think about this is through the idea of the inner child. Because so often, our biggest shadows, our most painful triggers, they come from a younger version of ourselves that felt scared, or misunderstood, or alone. Compassion is about you right now becoming the safe, loving adult that your younger self always needed.
So how do you actually practice this? Well, it can be broken down into 3 really simple steps. First, just acknowledge the pain. See it. Don't push it away. Second, speak to yourself with the same warmth you'd give to a friend who is hurting. And third, you just offer that wounded part of you a feeling of safety. You let it know you're here now. And you know, we actually go way deeper into practices like this over on our Spotify podcast if you want to explore it in a more personal way.
And this is the beautiful, kind of wild paradox of healing. For as long as we're at war with our pain, as long as we're fighting it, it has so much power over us. But the very moment we turn towards it with kindness, with compassion, it starts to lose its grip. We actually take its power away by offering it our love.
So, you have awareness, you have acceptance, you have compassion. What does that all add up to? Well, the final and really the ongoing part of all this work is integration. This is where you take all these insights and weave them into the person you are every single day.
And let's be super clear about this, because this is so important. The goal of shadow work is not to become some perfect, enlightened being who never gets angry or sad again. That's just not human. The real goal is peace. It's about finding a sense of wholeness and peace with all the different parts of yourself.
True integration feels like this. It's when you can look back at your past mistakes, your cringy moments, your pain, and you can do it without that awful sting of shame. It's being able to own your whole story and say, yep, that was me, and I'm really proud of the person I've become because of it. And please remember this. This is a practice, not a project you finish. There's no finish line. Life is always going to give you new experiences, new challenges that will invite you to meet yourself on an even deeper level. The journey really is the destination here.
So I just want to leave you with this one final thought to sit with. That part of you that feels the most broken, the part you've been running from the longest, what if it isn't actually asking to be fixed? What if it's just been waiting all this time for you to finally turn around and see it with love?